Have you treated H. pylori and maybe even gotten the all clear, but your stomach symptoms are still hanging around, or maybe they've even gotten worse since treatment? You might be thinking, what is going on? If you expected to feel better after H. pylori treatment, but still struggle with symptoms like reflux, nausea, bloating, or stomach pain, you are not alone. Clearing H. pylori is just one piece of the puzzle, but true symptom relief comes from healing the damage left behind. In this episode, we're diving into the 4 key reasons why your symptoms might still be lingering and what you can do to finally start feeling better for good. Let's get into it. Hey there, I'm Jessica Washington, a former gut health patient turned functional nutrition practitioner, and I am on a mission to help you finally say goodbye to stubborn stomach symptoms and reclaim your life with confidence. On the Getting Well Again podcast, we dive deep into the root causes of gut issues, sharing real strategies that actually work to help you feel like yourself again. Healing your stomach is about so much more than just protocols. So get comfortable, take a deep breath, and let's dive into this journey to lasting gut health together. And as a reminder, this podcast is for educational purposes only and is not a replacement for medical advice or treatment. Hello and welcome back to the Getting Well Again podcast. I'm so happy you're here for episode 10. I feel like this is a milestone. We've hit double digits. So thanks for being here. Today, we are going to go over the 4 main reasons why your symptoms haven't resolved or even gotten better at all after treating H. pylori, which is super common and super frustrating. And so this episode is definitely going to be for you if you have treated H. pylori, maybe even gotten that negative result, but still feel like you're stuck in a cycle of symptoms. And again, just to preface this whole conversation, this scenario is so common. Like, I would say the large majority of people don't feel better after treatment. And a good handful of people actually feel worse directly after treating H. pylori, especially if you've used antibiotics. So, if this is for you, you are not alone, and I know that just having that knowledge alone can be helpful. But in this episode, we are going to get into all of the details about why treatment often isn't enough to resolve stomach symptoms and the steps that you can take to get back on the road to symptom resolution. Because resolving symptoms is about so much more than just clearing the infection. There are so many factors at play that involve understanding your body's unique needs, addressing your unique root causes, and taking a step back to just build your body's resilience so that you can find lasting relief, get off that roller coaster of symptom flare, feeling better, symptom flare, feeling better. We don't want that for you. So that's what we're going to get into today. But first, let's unpack a little bit the concept that treating H. pylori is not enough to get relief from your stomach symptoms. And the idea that underpins this concept requires maybe a little bit of a mindset shift from how you are probably used to viewing gut infections, especially H. pylori. So, when it comes to the symptoms that you are experiencing, whether that's reflux or heartburn or nausea or stomach pain or whatever you deal with, it isn't the H. pylori bacteria itself that is causing your symptoms. And you've probably heard me say this before, but the H. pylori is not the cause of your symptoms. And so just getting rid of that infection is not going to just get rid of your symptoms. It actually is the damage done to your stomach by the H. pylori infection that is what is directly behind your symptoms. So, understanding this, it then makes sense that just getting rid of the H. pylori wouldn't fully resolve or even necessarily touch your symptoms because there's all this damage and mess left over from the H. pylori wreaking havoc on your stomach. And once you clean that up, you can start healing your stomach and then you can start seeing symptom improvement. And I know that whether you did antibiotics from your GI doctor or worked with a different practitioner to do herbal H. pylori treatment, whoever you were working with probably didn't tell you that there's a very large probability that you won't feel better after treatment. So that's why I'm here. Hello, you probably won't feel better after H. pylori treatment, and that's totally normal. And in my Goodbye Stomach Symptoms program, I had a member who, before she joined the program, went through H. pylori treatment with antibiotics, not once, but twice. And she came into the program with reflux and heartburn and stomach pain that she all rated at a 7 out of 10 severity. So she was struggling, but she didn't have any H. pylori anymore, which that's great. However, she was not feeling great and she had a whole lot of food restrictions. She had to cook completely different meals from her family. She also dealt with a lot of anxiety and stress around her symptoms, not knowing where to go next, as her doctor didn't have any advice beyond, hey, we've treated you for H. pylori, the infection's gone, now here's this PPI, this is what I have for you. And so, once she got into the program, she started working on healing her stomach from all of the damage that had been done by the H. pylori bacteria and from the 2 rounds of heavy-duty antibiotic treatment, and things started to turn around for her. It didn't happen overnight, but with a lot of consistency, showing up every week, and committing to trying new things, she started to feel better. And the last time we talked, she was able to stop taking all of her stomach healing supplements and is feeling back to her old self again, which is great. And I'm so thankful that she found the program, and she was one of the greatest clients to work with. So consistent, so committed, and she did all the things, and she's feeling so much better. All because she decided to go one step further past what she was being told about H. pylori treatment being all that you need to do to resolve symptoms. So, it's 100% not your fault if you thought that, like, hey, once I treat this infection, I will feel better. That's really the only narrative that is shared both in the conventional medicine and the functional health space. And so no one is talking about how you have to do the work to undo the damage done by the infection before you can start really seeing meaningful and lasting symptom improvements. But the healing work is the work that must be done to overcome the negative impacts of having H. pylori. And so once you can get started doing that, you can build your body's resilience so that you're no longer just tossed about by any stressors that come up. You can really start to see lasting improvements. All right, so let's get into some of the missing pieces when it comes to symptom resolution after H. pylori treatment. So, if you are still having symptoms after treating and even after eradicating H. pylori, these could be some of the reasons why. So, first, your stomach could be damaged, inflamed, and irritated. And this inflammation and damage can be the root of many of the common stomach symptoms like reflux, heartburn, stomach pain, and nausea. If your stomach environment is not in the best shape, it is going to react with symptoms. And we kind of already touched on this earlier, but when you have H. pylori, the bacteria stirs up a lot of trouble inside your stomach. It's a troublemaker. It burrows into your stomach's lining, damages proton pumps that produce stomach acid, and produces an enzyme that chemically lowers your stomach acid. So it's attacking you from multiple different angles. And how H. pylori works to keep itself alive in a very inhospitable environment, like your super acidic stomach, could probably be a podcast episode on its own, which I should probably do. But for now, it's just important to understand that simply removing the H. pylori bacteria from your stomach is often not enough to undo all of that stomach lining damage, that proton pump damage, and the chemical lowering of your stomach acid and reverse symptoms. Instead, you need to focus on healing your stomach from the damage caused by the H. pylori. And again, I kind of feel like the bearer of bad news here, but I have to keep things real and truthful. But studies have shown that this stomach healing process can take anywhere from 3 to 6 months to effectively heal all of that mess and damage that was caused by the H. pylori and give you complete symptom resolution. Like that client that we talked about earlier, she worked with me for probably 6 or more months, and little by little, she started improving. It definitely didn't happen overnight. She had some ups and some downs, but she kept with it and she kept working and she kept trying new things and just stayed really consistent with all of the healing strategies. And eventually it worked. And so it's not going to happen overnight, but it will work over time. You just have to be consistent and patient. It's not a quick fix strategy. I don't really think there is a quick fix strategy for stomach symptoms. So you have to be in it for the long haul if you want to see lasting results. That's just how it works. All right, and then the second piece of the puzzle that could be keeping symptoms lingering after H. pylori treatment is that your microbiome is now imbalanced. So imbalances to your beneficial gut bacteria can be a cause of stomach symptoms for many reasons, but most notably because when the ratio of beneficial bacteria to not so beneficial bacteria is skewed, favoring those not so beneficial guys, you can experience an uptick in gas. This increase in gas can then put pressure on the stomach and the little lower esophageal sphincter that hangs out between your stomach and your esophagus, and that can then cause symptoms like reflux and heartburn. And in the case of recently treating an H. pylori infection, this bacterial imbalance or swing to having less beneficial gut bacteria and more not so beneficial ones can have two potential causes. The H. pylori infection itself can cause this imbalance, and the antibiotics that you used to treat the infection can also cause this imbalance. So first, let's chat about how H. pylori can cause this negative shift in your microbiome and resulting stomach symptoms after treatment. So when you have H. pylori, it lowers your stomach acid in order to survive the harsh stomach conditions. And while this is a critical way that the H. pylori bacteria stays alive in your stomach, it unfortunately has some major consequences for your own health. Low stomach acid means you do not have that strong acidic environment in your stomach needed to keep unwanted bacteria in check. Your stomach is supposed to be your first line of defense, preventing harmful bacteria from overgrowing. So anything that you ingest, either food, water, any way that you can get bacteria into your gut, your stomach acid is supposed to be the first line of defense to kill all that off. But when stomach acid levels drop, it becomes much easier for these not so great bacteria to thrive and multiply, essentially kicking out some of your beneficial bacteria, creating a whole lot of disruption and imbalance in your microbiome, and contributing to that excess gas buildup and lingering stomach symptoms. So now, the second way that your microbiome can take a hit after H. pylori treatment is from the antibiotics. If you used antibiotics to treat H. pylori, they not only targeted the H. pylori bacteria, which is great, but they also wiped out a lot of your beneficial gut bacteria in the process. And this is a common issue with antibiotics in general, not just for H. pylori treatment. Antibiotics don't discriminate between good and bad bacteria. So taking antibiotics is basically like dropping a bomb in your gut, wiping out a lot of your established microbiome. And so when beneficial bacteria are depleted, it creates an open space in your gut that can quickly be filled by opportunistic bacteria, yeast, or other microbes that aren't as friendly to digestion. And so this is why some people actually develop new digestive symptoms like bloating, diarrhea, or constipation after finishing a round of antibiotics. It's because their microbiome has shifted, things have gotten a little funky in there, and we just need to clean it up a little bit. And so, what can you do about lingering symptoms that are due to an imbalanced microbiome? The key is going to be to actively restore the microbiome with beneficial bacteria and nourish your gut environment so that good bacteria can flourish again. This means incorporating probiotics either through food sources like yogurt, kefir, and fermented vegetables, or with a high quality probiotic supplement. But even more important than probiotics is making sure you're feeding the beneficial bacteria in your gut with prebiotics. Prebiotics are fibers that we can't digest, but that serve as food for our beneficial gut bacteria. And these fibers are found in foods like bananas, onions, garlic, asparagus, and oats. So, beyond making sure you're getting enough probiotics and prebiotics, just eating a diverse plant-rich diet is one of the best things that you can do to encourage a healthy microbiome. The more variety you have in your diet, the more diverse your gut bacteria will be, which is key for overall gut resilience. So, if you're still experiencing symptoms after H. pylori treatment, checking in on your microbiome health and making sure you're actively supporting its recovery could be a huge missing piece. All right, now let's move on to another major factor that could be keeping your symptoms hanging around even after H. pylori treatment. And that factor is chronic stress and the mind-gut connection. I know stress might not seem like the most obvious reason why your symptoms aren't getting better, but if there's one thing I've seen time and time again in my clients, it's that stress plays a massive role in gut health and often a much bigger role than people realize. And here's why. When you're under chronic stress, your body shifts into what is called a sympathetic nervous system state, or you might be more familiar with it as the fight or flight state. This state is your nervous system's way of preparing you to deal with a perceived threat. And while this response is helpful if you're actually in danger, like getting chased by a tiger, or I don't know, in traffic and you need to stop really quickly to avoid a car accident, perfect time for the sympathetic nervous system to kick in. But it's not so great when this nervous system is getting activated all the time in response to daily stressors. Because when your body is in a fight or flight state, digestion is not a priority. Your stomach acid production decreases, your digestive enzyme production slows down, and blood flow is diverted away from your digestive system. Essentially, your body is saying, now is not the time to digest food. We've got much bigger things to deal with. And so if you're in this state day after day, it can create a cycle where poor digestion leads to more symptoms. And those symptoms create more stress, which makes digestion even worse, and you just get stuck in this fight or flight state. And so this is why so many people feel stuck in their healing, because even though they are doing all the right things with their diet and their supplements, their nervous system is still in overdrive, making it harder for their body to actually absorb nutrients and repair itself. And this can happen whether you have treated H. pylori or not. It's just one of the very common sticking points when it comes to lingering stomach symptoms. And so instead of looking into more treatment, looking at your stress levels and your nervous system state is a better first step. So, what can you do to calm your nervous system so that you can start calming your symptoms? The key is really going to be to get your body out of that sympathetic stress state and into a calm parasympathetic nervous system state, or what is often called a rest and digest state. This is the state where your body can actually focus on healing, absorbing nutrients, and restoring gut function. And so there are two big ways to help your body make this shift into this calm state. So first, you can take stressors out of your life. And then second, you can enhance your body's ability to handle stress. Two different avenues, both help you get that same result. So removing the stressors that are within your control often requires you to take some time, sit down, and audit your current lifestyle for anything that could be causing you stress. And then once you have a good list of all of those potential stressors, start tackling just one at a time until you've removed a good handful of stress from your life. And so these could be things like I'm going to bed too late, long after I get tired. I'm waking up and not eating breakfast. I'm just drinking coffee and running out the door. Or I get really anxious and worried when my kids get home from school. Those are really common potential stressors in your life that you can sit down, map out a game plan for how to tackle, and start adjusting your lifestyle to make it more conducive to being in a calm nervous system state. And then on the other side of it, making your body more resilient to stress enables your body to actually handle more stress without that stress negatively affecting your gut health and contributing to lingering symptoms. And so, some of the best ways to help build your body's stress resilience include things like breath work, cold exposure, nervous system retraining, and visualization. And so, if you're still experiencing symptoms after H. pylori treatment, and especially if you find that symptoms get worse during stressful periods, working on removing some controllable stressors from your life and building your body's stress resilience might be the missing piece that you haven't explored yet. All right, so let's move on to the fourth and final reason why symptoms can linger after H. pylori treatment, and that is that you have some unaddressed lifestyle factors. And this one is really important because even if you're doing all the right things, you're working on stomach healing, you're restoring your microbiome, you're managing stress, the way that you live your daily life still has a huge impact on your digestion and can greatly impact stomach symptoms that are hanging around after H. pylori treatment. The reality is, our modern lifestyle doesn't always support good digestion and proper stomach function, which can result in symptoms even for people who don't have a history of H. pylori. Maybe for you, this means you're eating on the go, rushing through meals while multitasking, or even skipping meals altogether because you're busy. Or maybe your sleep schedule is all over the place, or you're eating really late at night and waking up with reflux or nausea. And so these habits are actually some that might overlap with some of the controllable stressors in your life. And they also may seem small, but over time, they can keep your digestive system in a more reactive, stressed state, making it harder for your symptoms to fully recover. So, what can you do about it? The key here is to build a healing routine, just really to make your life conducive to gut health, making gut health a priority in your life. And so this can be just a set of small, intentional habits that support your stomach instead of working against it. And so here are a few simple shifts that can make a big difference. So you can practice mindful eating. So if you're used to eating quickly or while distracted, slowing down and actually chewing your food thoroughly can help digestion work so much better. Plus, this simple habit just naturally encourages your body to get into that rest and digest state before meals. And please don't discount this eating mindfully. I've seen clients' stomach symptoms disappear just by adjusting their eating environment to be more mindful and actually focused on eating. You could also prioritize getting enough sleep. And I cannot stress this one enough. Your gut heals while you sleep. Sleep is for restoration and healing. And if you're not getting enough of it, you're going to have trouble healing your stomach. And so if you're getting less than 7 to 8 hours per night, your body may not have enough time, enough resources to repair and restore your stomach lining, which could be keeping symptoms from fully improving, even if you don't have H. pylori anymore. And also, prioritize moving your body. Just gentle movement, like walking after meals, can help stimulate digestion and prevent food from just sitting in your stomach too long. And if constipation is part of your symptom picture, daily movement can be a game changer for that as well. And so, these simple lifestyle shifts might not seem like the most exciting changes to make, but they add up. And I've seen clients who were stuck in symptom cycles finally get relief just by making small tweaks to their daily habits. So, if you're still dealing with symptoms post-treatment, take a look at your lifestyle and how it might be impacting your digestion. Sometimes the missing piece to feeling better isn't another supplement or another protocol. It's simply just making sure that your daily habits are actually supporting your stomach health. All right, we got through it. So let's quickly recap the four major reasons why symptoms can linger after H. pylori treatment. Reason number one, your stomach is still healing. The damage from H. pylori does not disappear overnight, unfortunately, and your stomach needs time and the right support to fully heal and repair itself. And number two, your microbiome could be imbalanced. H. pylori and antibiotics can throw off your gut bacteria, leading to symptoms like bloating, reflux, and poor digestion. Number three, Chronic stress could be keeping your gut stuck in a reactive stress state. So if your nervous system is in that fight or flight mode, digestion will not work properly no matter how great your diet is, no matter how many supplements you're taking, and you will stay stuck in the cycle of stomach symptoms. And then number 4, lifestyle habits may be working against you, also keeping you stuck with symptoms. Things like irregular meals, poor sleep, eating in a rush, lack of movement can all impact your digestion and keep those symptoms hanging around. So, if you're feeling stuck, take a step back and ask yourself, where do I need the most support? Look at those 4 things we just talked about. Try to pick one and start there. You don't have to do it all at once. The most important part is that you can make consistent, manageable, actionable changes that you can stick with over time. That's where you're really going to move the needle and start seeing symptom improvement. Because the truth is, healing doesn't come from just one thing. You can't just put all your eggs in one basket, think if I take all these supplements, I'm going to feel so much better. Healing is really found in the combination of dialing in all of these factors, enabling your stomach to heal, enabling your body to become more resilient, and continuing to do that over the long term. That is where you are going to be able to see symptom improvement and remain symptom-free for good. And if you need support putting all of these pieces together and figuring out exactly what your body needs to finally feel better, this is exactly what we do inside my Goodbye Stomach Symptoms program. This program is designed to help you go beyond just treating H. pylori and actually heal your stomach, rebuild your resilience, and get back to feeling like yourself again. So, if you're ready to explore that next step, we are going to be opening the doors to the program again in the next few weeks. And so you can go to theguthealingninja.com/waitlist, get on the program waitlist where you will be the first to know when the program opens again. You'll get first dibs at one of the limited seats and maybe get some special bonuses for signing up early. So get on that list and I will let you know all the deets shortly. And so this program is now and probably forever the only way that you can work with me, because the way that I've created this program has been so powerful and so transformative for all of the previous members. And because I absolutely love coaching in this group format and supporting everyone inside a community of like-minded people just going through the same journey, this is all I ever want to do. So if you're ready to dive deeper into your lingering stomach symptoms, kick them to the curb for good, Goodbye Stomach Symptoms is where you want to be. And if you found today's episode helpful, it would mean so much to me if you could take a minute, leave a review, or share it with someone who might need it. I would appreciate you forever. But thank you so much for being here for episode 10. Look at us, we're growing up. But that's all I got for today. I will see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Getting Well Again podcast. If you found today's conversation helpful, please subscribe and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Your feedback really helps others who need this information find the show and start their own healing journey. And if you know someone who'd benefit, please feel free to share this episode with them too. See you next time.